Hi, Teacher Mindy here. Today I'm talking about Outschool. First, I want to go over what I have made in my first 3 weeks working for Outschool. And I just want to show you that I've worked there for 3 weeks. I've only been teaching 1 day a week. And I've been doing my Princess Tea Party twice in the same day. So I'll teach for VIP Kid in the morning, I'll do a Princess Tea Party kind of late morning, and then I do a second one kind of mid-afternoon, and then I teach a class again for VIP Kid that evening. So I kind of have like a mega day that I do a lot of teaching. And I have taught in 3 weeks 6 classes. That's all I've wanted to teach so far, just trying to get my feet wet, not trying to have it turn into a full-time job. Just wanted to work a little bit, see how it goes, see how I like it before I spend a lot of time developing more classes. Each class that I've done so far has been 40 minutes, and that has been perfect timing for me. By the time I greet all the kids and we go over a few things, explain their craft, read their story, etc., it takes 40 minutes. I charge $10 per student, which is a pretty average amount to charge for a 40-minute class. They recommend for an hour class to charge anywhere from $12 to $15. So since it's a 40-minute class, I just do the 10. So far, out of the 6 classes, I have had 20 students actually take the classes. Now, I've had more students enrolled, but they have at the last minute switched to a different section or whatever, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But so far, with those 20 students, $10 each, that's $200. Outschool took their 30%, which makes it $140. And if you calculate my 40-minute classes and you calculate it all out and turn it into hours, I made $35 per hour teaching for Outschool. Now, that is just my straight teaching time. That is not my prep time or my setup time or my writing messages to parents or anything like that. It's just a straight teaching time. So at VIP Kid, my straight teaching time ends up to be about $20 an hour. I do have 5 minutes in there for doing parent write-up, which I always go over in my teaching, so that's always extra. So basically I make $20 an hour for VIP Kid, and now I'm making $35 per hour with Outschool. The potential is there to make even more with Outschool. There's just some things that I need to perfect and correct in order to make more money with them. So 3 weeks, 1 day a week, 2 times a day, 6 classes, 40 minutes each class, $10 per student, 20 students were enrolled, $200 minus the 30% is $140, and that makes it $35 per hour, all with Princess Tea Party classes. So all on the same class. Now, in those 3 weeks, what did I learn? I learned a lot in the 3 weeks, and I'm sure all of you who are just starting out with Outschool have learned a lot also. So the first thing I wanted to tell you is students book and cancel at the last minute. So you may see that you have a class and maybe you only have 2 or 3 learners in it. The day of the class, by the time you wake up that morning, it could be completely full. Now for me, I set my class limit to 5. Since they were only ages 4 to 8, I was a little concerned that, smaller class size is better. So I kept it a little bit smaller than the recommended was up to 6. But because students will transfer or ask for a transfer to a different section kind of late in the game. Well, it probably wouldn't be so late in the game if I checked my parent communication better, but somewhat late in the game. A lot of those full classes, I ended up not teaching to a full class. And actually none of my classes yet, even though some of them were full, did I have all 5 students in there. At the most I've had was 4. So what I do is I offer to move them to another section. So you're eventually getting their money, you're eventually getting their class fee, but the bad side of it is sometimes they're taking up a slot showing that it's full that somebody else might have been able to take up if they cancel. So the first 2 class weeks, I messaged the parents and said, hey, I noticed your child wasn't in class today, so sorry, hope everything's okay. Would you like a refund or would you like to switch to a new class? Well, now I've learned, don't ask them if they don't show up at the last minute if they'd like a refund. That is not the class cancellation policy for a one-time class. You can ask them would they like to move to a different section, and there is a happiness guarantee with Outschool, but I would not offer them a refund. You want to just move them to another class section. And you could even say, oh, I'm sorry, you requested it without whatever the policy says, 24 hours advance notice or 12 hours advance notice, whatever it is. You requested a class transfer too late. Sorry, you don't get to transfer. But because I'm new with Outschool, I've only had 8 out of the 20 have actually left parent reviews. I still want to keep my parents, and I always want to keep my parents very happy and coming back for more classes. So yes, of course, I will transfer. Also, I had learned only open like 2 to 4 sections of a particular class at a time, because you really want your classes to show fully booked, because then there will be a little tag on your class that says this class is in high demand. 4 out of the last 5 classes have sold out, or this class, it has only 1 spot left. So those little tags, parents see them and they're like, whoa, this is a great class. I want to sign my child up. So it's best to not open up sections between now and August. I would just open up a couple sections, 2 to 4 sections at a time. If parents don't find the time that they're looking for, they can always request a time from you. They can put in a request for a time, which I have had happen multiple times with this Tea Party class. Also, number 3, the less student prep, the better. So with my Princess Tea Party, the students have a pretty decent supply list because they make a wand out of paper towel holder tubes. So if they haven't saved their last paper towel holder tube, that's kind of a problem. But I do make a video and I show them how they can substitute something else if they don't have one. But if the fewer supplies, the easier it is for the students to sign up last minute. They're having a rainy day, they can jump on Outschool and say, hey, let's have a tea party with Teacher Mindy, or let's learn a science experiment, or whatever that has very little prep time and materials, and they will jump on and do that easier. Also, classes that are requiring homework are not as popular. So I only have 2 classes that are publicly listed right now. I have another one that got approved that I need to list. So one is my Princess Tea Party, which has been very popular. And the second one was actually in the Sunday parent request email that we get. We get an email of all the classes that parents have requested. And this class has actually been requested several times. It's a novel study of the book Because of Winn-Dixie. So I have done novel studies on that book before, so I'm like, sure, I can do that, no problem. But that requires the student to A, order the book, B, to have read the book before they come to class. So that class, I have my first one coming up on Tuesday, and I don't have anyone signed up for that at all. So unless they're really fast readers and they're going to be able to read Because of Winn-Dixie in the next few days, which you could, it's not super, it's a thicker book, but there's not a ton of words on each page. So they could read it in a few days. Unless they're going to get that done, that class might not have any learners in it because they really need to read that book before they come to class. At least I put in that's highly recommended. And there is a craft with that as well, which is making some very simple dog toys that are with materials found around their house. So that's a pretty easy supply list, but they have to have that book read. So the class that I am offering on Tuesday does not have any learners in it yet. And then the next one that I have offered, it doesn't have any learners in it yet either. So I'm waiting to see if a novel study is going to go or not. Maybe it's just bad timing. I really think parents probably want to hop on last minute. Hey, I'm bored. Okay, great. Go spend $10 on an Outschool class and be entertained for half an hour, or whatever it is. The other number 4 that I learned is the green screen. You see the green screen behind me. And when you are in a Zoom meeting, oh my goodness, the green screen is so stinking easy to use. All you do is find a photo of anything you want and you put it in to your, upload it to your Zoom account or your classroom, you upload it. It stays in there. When you go to do your next class, it pops up and there is your image. So for the Princess Tea Party, thanks to, shout out to Danny from Happy Farms, Louisiana. She suggested it would be so fun to do a picture of a castle in the background for my Princess Tea Party, which I did today, and it was so stinking cute and such a big hit. So green screen, highly recommend. I was able to get the stand and the green fabric combo on Amazon for only 80 bucks. Then tip number 5, have a next class for the age level and the interest of the kids ready to go. So I'm planning, okay, now I've had 20 learners take my tea party class. They're not going to keep signing up, although I did have one who took it a second time. But they're not going to keep signing up for the same Princess Tea Party. You need to offer some other type of tea party or some other type of girly kind of thing for this age group. So today I was able to announce what my next tea party class is going to be. I told them I was just developing it. I needed to get it approved, and then I will put it up. It should be up, ready to go in a couple of weeks. Please be looking for it. And they were all excited at the end. They're like, oh, I'm going to take your next class, super fun, etc. So in my next class, I'm going to try a tea party camp where they come once a day for 3 days in a row and do a little tea party, read a different book and a different craft, and have some different activities that kind of all blend together, that all gel together, I should say. All right, number 6, big lesson that I learned today. Check the parent communication on Outschool for each section of your class daily, because the learners like to switch to new sections, and it's within their right, within their time frame to do so. So you need to switch them out of your section and put them in a new section so that it opens up so other students can come to that class. So for example, I went in today after my first class and looked, and this one little girl had asked prior to class if she could switch to a different section. no problem, switch you over. But that class was full. So potentially I could have had another student in that class that was going to be there and pay their fee and not have that slot be wasted. Does that make sense? And then in the afternoon, I checked about 15 minutes before class started. I'm like, I better just check, see if they're all coming, what's going on. Well, there was siblings, 2 girls. They were going to come. They requested a day before if they could switch to a different section. So I moved them over to the different section before class started. So that left 2 openings in that class, but it was only like half an hour, 15 minutes before class. So it wasn't going to fill in that short a time. So it's important to go into Outschool and check the parent communication daily. So maybe some of you are getting emails when you get parent communication. I'm not. All of my Outschool emails go to my junk constantly. And even though I moved them, the Outschool address, I moved it and put it into my contacts and did all of that, it still goes to my junk. So if you have any idea of why it keeps going into like the spam or whatever it is folder, and how I can get it to stay into the inbox, and let me know in the comments below, because I'm sure there's something I'm doing wrong. I'm not the most tech savvy person, so I am positive there is something I'm doing wrong, and maybe you can help me fix it. Okay, so number 7, keep your class engaging, energetic, enthusiastic, use your props, use your TPR, all the good teaching techniques that VIP Kid has taught us. For those of you who are VIP Kid teachers, we've had a lot of training in all of these areas, and it's the same with Outschool, whether you're reading them a story. So for example, reading my Princess Sophia's story, they end up having a tea party in a garden with butterflies. I make the butterflies, little fake butterflies, wiggle across the screen. I show props when Sophia's picking out what china to use at her tea party. Should she use the white plate or should she use the gold plate? And I show them props. And I also stop and ask questions and just use a very good read aloud kind of technique where you're keeping them engaged. And I also let them work on their craft or their drawing or a picture, whatever they want to work on while I'm reading, to keep the little hands busy and keep them engaged as well. And that was number 8, keep the little ones busy with a coloring sheet or craft during the read aloud. You don't want them to get bored and antsy. You want to keep them engaged. So they're still listening, but they have something else to do as well. Number 9, I have set days for Outschool teaching. So I'm video recording on those set days. I teach on those set days because on Outschool, Zoom platform, and on YouTube, there is no beauty filter. So if I'm going to take time to do my hair, you still have your headphones on when you're teaching Outschool, so a lot of your hair is covered up. But if I'm not having a great hair day on VIP Kid, I'll put on my headband, or I will put on one of our little AR stickers that puts a hat on you or whatever. And I crank up that beauty filter to make it look like I have extra makeup on. But with Zoom, someone did say, and I forgot to look, that there might be something on Zoom that you can adjust a little bit to make it look a little more like you have makeup on. But if I'm having a tea party, I want to be dressed up and have my makeup on and my hair done and looking cute for a tea party. So I'm trying to batch it where I have days that I can look like a bum, especially up at my cabin when I'm getting all dirty and icky. I'm looking like in mowing grass, looking like a complete bum on the weekends. But then during the week, and especially on my Outschool days, I make sure I look a little bit prettier. Number 10, there is no little parent feedback required with Outschool like there is for VIP Kid. VIP Kid, when you finish your class, you have a little parent feedback thing that you are required to do. However, what I have been doing, and I don't know if this has been going over well or not, I just have been doing it. I will go in and I will send a little thank you, so nice to meet you, and some kind of personal note to each student in regards to attending the class. Which leads me to tip number 11. So tip number 11 is I take notes in class. And you can see, these are my little notes from today. So I write down things like, how old are they? Because it's a Princess Tea Party. What kind of a dress are they wearing? Are they wearing an Elsa dress or a Sophia dress or a pink dress or a red dress? They are also invited to bring a doll or a stuffed animal to class. So I write down who they brought to class with them, what doll or stuffed animal. I also write down what state they're from. Just little notes that I can include in the little thank you for them coming. I write down if it's their first time with Outschool or their first time taking a class with me, etc. So just been writing little notes so I can personalize it when I send my little thank you for coming to class today. And tip number 12, my final tip of the day, is allow plenty of time before your class to get in to your classroom, get things set up, get your Outschool program open, up and running, get into the Zoom platform, and just take a few minutes to breathe and relax, because your students will be very prompt, if not early. I have been having them stay in the little waiting room until class time starts, and then I admit several of them all at once. So instead of like admitting one, they're sitting there just with me, kind of awkward. Then I admitted another one. I admit them as much as possible all at once. So when we're doing the introductions, they can all hear where each other is from. But it's great just to give yourself a few minutes to breathe. And this is more for me. I am the queen of running late. So this morning was a little stressful. I hadn't taught the class in a whole week. So I was like, oh no, what am I doing again? Because I'd only taught it a few times. So just give yourself a little bit of time to be completely set up, ready to go, and have a couple minutes to relax before you start your class. So that's it. Those are my 12 tips and what I made my first 3 weeks of Outschool. If you decide you would like to teach for Outschool as well, I do have a referral link that I will put down below. I have a freebie that I will send out to you, and it is just some resources that you can go to learn about all sorts of things about Outschool. Who's making YouTube videos? Where can you go and learn about the classes and the format and what Outschool teaching is like to see if it's right for you or not. And also, if you sign up to be an Outschool teacher, I am more than happy to be on the phone with you or send you emails or texts and help you along the way with getting hired and even getting your first class listed and taught. Because I know my first class, I was very nervous. But Outschool does a great job with many training systems in place to help you along the way and help you to be comfortable with that first class. So thanks for watching. I hope you can give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.